sixth parsha, I wanted to focus on one of the fundamentals of Yiddishkeit. In Perek Chaf Beis, Pasuk Lamed Beis, we find the Pasuk tells us, V'osechavelu Hashem Kadshi, V'nikdashti b'soch b'nei Yisrael, Ani Hashem Mekadeish Shem. We find the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem and the Aveira of making a Chil Hashem. This mitzvah, as we're going to explore, is about much more than just not leaving your potato chip bag in the middle of the street and people say, where did that guy get, who raised that guy? But in fact, this mitzvah is from the fundamentals of what the world is about and what life is about. So Rabbeinu Yonah in the Shaarei Teshuva explores this mitzvah. He talks about different madregas in Averos in the third chelek. In Gimel, Kuf Mem Gimel, he talks about the madrega of Averos that are so severe, they're in the category of those who have Ein Lehem Chelek Olam Haba. They lose their portion in the world to come. Like Chazal tell us in Sanhedrin that there are people like Mavazeh Talmid Chacham, for example, even though he has Torah mitzvos, Ein Lo Chelek Olam Haba. So I've seen two ideas of why Kaddish Baruch Hu created the world. I've seen more, but the main two ideas, the Ramchal is the main one they teach in the yeshivas. The idea that Kaddish Baruch Hu created the world to make us happy and to give to us the ultimate happiness both in this world and in the next world. Rabbeinu Yonah and many of the Rishonim come at it from a different dimension. We find in the last Mishnah in Perkei Avos that that the whole world was created for Kavod Shemayim. As the Pasuk in Yeshaya tells us, that everything was created for Kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I remember Rav Noach Weinberg used to define humility as the idea that something matters even more than me, that this is just a fundamental idea that we should strive to be able to accept that we're not the center of the world. And in fact, the world was created for Kavod Shemayim. The Maral on that Mishnah explores the philosophical question on this approach, that Hashem is not lacking anything, so why would he need to create the world for his Kavod? But this is the approach Rabbeinu Yonah is approaching it, that if the whole world is created for Kavod Shemayim, then a Mechalel Hashem, who boze Devorav, and who is Mevaze his words, is he loses all hope. Not only is he not fulfilling the whole purpose of his creation, which is to bring Kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim, he's doing the exact opposite. He's being Mechalel Shem Shamayim. So a person goes and they do, he's not talking about every Chil Hashem is in this realm. But certain Chil Hashem, a person does certain Averos before Hesyan, he's Porek Ol Shamayim, he shows he doesn't care about Hashem and his mitzvos, he reached the level of a Mechal Shem Shamayim, who's Ein Lo Chelek Le'olam Haba. And Rabbeinu Yonah elaborates on this in Kuf Mem Ches. He's talking about the idea of Mavazeh Talmid Chacham, and whatever level that he means when he's talking about Mavazeh Talmid Chacham, person disgraces the honor of Talmidei Chachamim. He says, why is this so severe? He says, because Kiddush Shem Shamayim means that in the way that you speak, even even the gestures of one eyes, every action that one takes is supposed to be a mechanism for Kavod Shemayim. Because this is the foundation of man's soul, his splendor, his glory. Everything about the human soul is created to serve Hashem with. Kizeh kol ha'adam, as it says in Quran. This is serving Hashem and fearing Him and embracing His Torah is everything. And that's the greatest Kavod Shemayim. So a person who's Mavazeh Talmid Chacham and Yarei Shemayim, so he shows that, this is not the important thing. The Avodas Hashem is not the Iker. Honor and glory, who do I honor? Who do I respect? People who are successful in this world. That's the important thing. The guy who makes a lot of money and has a big business. But the guy who sits and learns in the corner over there, why would I respect him? So that's the extent of he's saying, so then you're going, not only are you not bringing Kiddush Hashem and Kavod Shem Shamayim, but you're doing the exact opposite. You're bringing disgrace to Kavod Shemayim. You're showing that this is not what matters, that something else is what matters more. Rather, the purpose of a person is to do everything he can to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim at all times with everything he does. Through his mitzvos, through his actions, through his behavior, he strives to be a vehicle for Kavod Shemayim. And Rabbeinu Yonah takes this a step further in Kuf Dun Ches. He says, Chil Hashem is the greatest of Averos, as we know, that nothing in this world can a person do that could be mechaper fully for the Avera of a Chil Hashem. And he says this, in fact, was why Hashem was Mekadeish us with the Torah and mitzvahs. He learns the pasuk, "V'osachalu Hashem kadshi v'nikdashiti b'noch p'soch b'nei Yisrael ani Hashem Mekadeish Shem," that this is why Hashem was Mekadeish us, in order that we shouldn't be Mechal and rather should be Mekadeish Shem. He compares it to the idea that the same way that the vessels in the Beis Hamikdash, they had to be Kaddish, so too we are the vessels in the service of Hashem, so we have to be Kaddish. It's because we're the vehicles for Kavod Shem Shamayim, that's why we have to have the Kiddush of Hashem's Torah and His mitzvahs, so we could properly be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim. And that's really the tachlis of creation, and that's the tachlis of what we have at Torah and mitzvahs, is to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim. Rav Matisyahu explains that this is the reason why the greatest zechus for the nifter, when you think of what's the zechus for the nifter, say Kaddish. If you look at the translation of Kaddish, what are you saying? You're saying, may Hashem's name be Kaddish, may Hashem's name be holy in the world, is basically what you're saying when you say Kaddish. Why is this the greatest zechus for the nifter? Because you're making the nifter into a vehicle for Kiddush Shem Shamayim. And so that's the greatest zechus for the nifter, because that's the biggest purpose of why we're here, is to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim. I was wondering when I was exploring the halachas of Kiddush Hashem and Chil Hashem, that one of the main, to a large degree, the main area that's explored is the idea of that when you have to give up your life for Kiddush Shem Shamayim. But Rabbeinu Yonah is exploring how it's such a fundamental part of everything we do is to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim. So why in the halacha is it mainly about giving up your life? I was thinking maybe the pshat is because this is the greatest Kiddush Shem Shamayim, is a person shows that nothing matters more than me than Kiddush Shem Shamayim. I'm willing to give up my life to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim. There's a story I heard many times in yeshiva. Rav David Leibowitz, at one point he was running away for his life, and the Russians or somebody shot at him, and he told his son later in life, I wish you would have hit me. I wish I would have been able to have this zechus to give up my life for Kavod Shamayim. And this is somebody who, they were Gadol B'Yisrael, and they helped build Torah in America, and they accomplished tremendous things with their life. But all that, I guess, would pale in comparison to the ability to be Mekadeish Shem Shamayim. I guess that he felt that the greatest Kiddush Shem Shamayim would be to give up his life L'Kavod Shem Shamayim. And I think it's important, another angle I just wanted to focus on, and there's a lot to focus on in the halachas of what is a Kiddush Hashem, what's a Chil Hashem, very broad topic, don't have the time to get into it, but I just wanted to focus on the concept of success. We think about success of Avodas Hashem. I once heard from Rebbetzin Edelman, her husband was the one giving the Smicha Bechinas for many years in the yeshiva, and they were talking about, one time I was at their table, what are they doing in the position that they were in? There were more glamorous positions out there in certain ways than what they were doing. And she just talked about the idea that she was that they were at a convention, and she said people kept asking the Rosh Hashiva, Rav Enoch, from different angles. The person has the opportunity to be a Rebbe, or in Kiev, or a Rav, or a first grade Rebbe, or a 10th grade Rebbe. What's the best thing to do? And they kept asking from different angles, or Shiva kept giving the same response. The most important thing is to make a Kiddush Hashem. She said it's Aleph base and it's everything. And I heard this from Rabbi Trapper also, that the Rosh Hashiva gave one bracha all the years, going to make parlor meetings and dinners and everything. You should make a Kiddush Hashem. And that's why we're here, and that's what it's all about, and that's what we have to focus on and realize, that it's all about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and it's not about us. May we be able to reach Hamadreg and be able to do so b'simcha and really feel it. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbos.